So what's the difference between Ammon and Idaho Falls? I talked a little bit about this in other videos, but today I have a very special guest joining me, Sean Coletti, the mayor of Ammon City in Idaho. This interview is so great. Sean was lovely. I was so happy to interview him. He's such a kind person and he loves our community. So without further ado, let's get started. What's up, guys? My name is Annika Wilder. I'm a local realtor here in the East Idaho area. If you're thinking about moving here, whether it's next week or next year, give me a call, shoot me a text, send me a message, or schedule a Zoom call, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you might have about East Idaho. And if you're new to my channel and you want to know all there is to know about life in Idaho Falls and the surrounding areas, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and that notification bell, and you'll be the first to know when I put out a new video like this every single week. All right, let's get to the interview. Thank you for coming on my show today.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Today we're going to talk to Sean about Ammon City, things that are going on in Ammon, a little bit about him so you can get to know him and hear more about life in East Idaho so you're not just hearing it from me. So Sean, tell me a little bit about you. How long have you been in Idaho?
Oh gosh, since my sophomore year in high school, so most of my life been in Idaho. Yeah.
Okay, great. What brought your family here?
You know, my dad had a job he was a high school teacher, and we moved to Preston, Idaho, and then eventually made our way up to eastern Idaho up here.
Great.
Yep.
How long have you been the mayor of Ammon?
Almost 8 years, and it's been a good 8 years.
Okay,
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your journey. I mean, what were you doing before? What is it like being a mayor? Just elaborate on that.
Okay. In about 2010, I ran for city council, and then in 2018, I ran for mayor, so I was on the council for 8 years. And then, like I said, I've been almost 8 years as mayor, and it's been great. The mayor in Ammon is a part-time position, but it feels like a full-time position. We do a lot of things, but just always trying to make the city a better place.
So it sounds like it's been a good run for the past 8 years.
I feel like it has. I feel like we've gotten a lot of good things done. It's not easy, and you don't make friends with everybody, but try to do the best. And
cool.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, can you describe the difference between Ammon and Idaho Falls?
Well, there's probably a lot of differences, but we're similar in a lot of ways. We're joined at the hip. We have one road that connects us. Idaho Falls is a much bigger city, probably about 4 or 5 times as big as Ammon is. I think Idaho Falls has about 60,000+ residents, and Ammon has about 20. A little over 20,000 residents, so maybe I exaggerated a little bit there, but Idaho Falls has a much bigger city budget than Ammon's, probably about 4 or 5 times as big. So they have we have a library too now. What am I thinking? But they've got some other things like an airport and things like that Ammon doesn't have. I would consider Ammon to be a suburb community mostly. A lot of people like to live in Ammon, nice and quiet, and for the most part, I think a very family-friendly community. And although it does have a very strong business sector as well, mostly along Hit Road, and all of that inevitably is growing. The community is a hot place to live. People like to come live in this area generally, and I think in Idaho Falls or in Ammon. Ammon's tax rate is about four times as low as Idaho Falls, but like I said, Idaho Falls also has some other facilities and amenities that Ammon doesn't have.
Idaho Falls is the kind of the center of downtown is right by the river, and this is like the historical part of the area. And Ammon has a historical part. It has older parts, and then it has a lot of newer amenities, like you said, shops, restaurants, and things like that. And so Idaho Falls is here, Ammon is here. They share a road, so you can throw a rock to the other side and hit
Probably
Ammon.
shouldn't do that though.
No, definitely not. Okay, so that's great. So let's talk a little bit more about cost of living. So you mentioned it a little bit more.
Sure.
Is there any other differences? I know water's metered in Ammon. It's not in Idaho Falls.
Right. Yes, that's true. Yes, Ammon's utilities would be higher than Idaho Falls. Idaho Falls has a power company, so they've got cheaper power rates, and they do have cheaper water and sewer rates than Ammon. And Ammon, on the other side, has the cheaper taxes than Idaho Falls. So I don't know how it balances out, but I've given up worrying about that too much over the past few years. It's just all in all, in Ammon and Idaho Falls, really just great places to live. One thing that you may have touched on in some of your other videos is that Ammon and Idaho Falls are unique in Idaho in that, and maybe in like Western United States, in that we have put a strong focus on fiber to the home.
Yes.
And Idaho Falls recently finished their fiber to the home project. I give them great kudos for that, and we are probably about 4 to 5 years away from finishing ours. This area will be one of the first and only areas in Western United States to have fiber in all of our neighborhoods.
Really?
Idaho Falls, Ammon. It's kind of cool. Yeah, there's some places in Utah and some other places in the west that have a lot of fiber to the home, and what that means is, for those who aren't familiar with it, it just means that you have super high speed fiber optics and also choice. So you can select your provider with the touch of a button without having to talk to anybody. If you don't like this one, you can move to that one. And when you have lots of providers and with lots of plans that you can look up on a screen and say, I like that one better than that one, then they start to compete a little bit with each other for your business, and that's a good thing.
That is a good thing.
Yeah.
It's actually very interesting because when people visit here from out of state, they say that it's kind of like going 20 years back in time because we're not very like up to date on amenities and the styles. And I mean, we still have power lines everywhere, they're not underground. And so that's very interesting to hear that we're actually ahead of the curve on the internet side compared to other states. So it's very interesting.
And I think in the future we're going to continue to grow in different technological ways. Of course, with our connection with Idaho National Lab, I think technology is going to continue to be a stronger point for Eastern Idaho.
I agree, and I'm excited to see how much it grows. So tell me, over the last 8 years, I mean, you've been here much longer than I have. I've been here going on 4 years. And so I haven't seen the growth of Ammon. So tell me how it was before and maybe what you've seen in your duration of being a mayor.
Yeah. When I got on the council, I think we were about 13,000, 12,000 residents, and we've grown to a little over 20. I think that's pretty good growth. There are some communities in Idaho that have grown much faster, but there was a period of time in the early 90s when we were very small. So, growth is just going to happen. Like I said, it's not driven by the city government. It's driven by landowners. And if a property owner wants to develop their property, then they'll come to the city and request to develop it. And if it meets the codes, then the city will approve it. And that's kind of how the process works. But we have continuing to grow our commercial corridor, like I said. And there's still neighborhoods that are being built. And I anticipate that will continue.
What are the current goals of Ammon City? I mean, obviously, like fiber, you said, is in the next few years. What else is in the works?
Well, we just passed a street levy last year, and that is the purpose of that is to try to give the city more funds to improve our streets. And so over the next several years with that, I would anticipate that we'll see a lot of new street projects and improvements. That's one thing. We just expanded the sewer plant. That is, well, it's in the process of being completed, but it will double the capacity of the plant. So we're excited about that. And we have a parks capital improvement plan that has been approved. So that will provide for better amenities in our parks as well. And let's see, there was something else that I was going to mention. But yeah, it's just, we have a lot of programs in Ammon that I think people might identify with. We have Ammon Days, we have a pumpkin walk, we have a light parade, and we have a Christmas tree bonfire in January.
So fun.
Lots of different events. Part of our Ammon Days includes a hot air balloon event. This year we had 22 balloons, and next year I think we'll have 26.
Wow.
So it keeps getting bigger. And those events bring the community together, and they're paid for by vendors. They're paid for by sponsors, not by the city government, but by sponsors who want to be a part of our events. So
That's smart. So
And
then you can
yeah.
save your funds for
Yeah.
projects for improving the city, and the fun things are sponsored by businesses.
that's
And
right.
it's a win-win situation.
Yeah.
That's great. If you haven't seen, I've put out some videos on things to do in the area, and Ammon Days is one of my favorites, actually. It's at McCowan Park, and it's so cool to see the balloons in the sky, and it's all the vendors, and there's like firefighters and slip and slides and
Yeah.
like bouncy houses, and
Yeah.
it's completely free.
Yeah.
So that's a really, really neat event. And do you think there will be more events like that as it continues to grow? Is it just inevitable? It's just natural as part of the growth?
I do. We've got some creative people in our parks department who are continuing to think of different events. So, and some work and some don't, and they're playing around with different things. But I think they're a hit. So I'm excited to see what they do next. This year we had a little bit of a slip up with the fireworks because it was raining. So we have a 4th of July fireworks show, and it was pouring rain with lightning. So it was very interesting. But next year again we'll have the regular fireworks show. So, but just lots of different events, movies in the park, all kinds of things. So yeah, that'll continue.
I love that. And what else are we hoping to see? Do you think there'll be more like parks and playgrounds? I personally don't think there's enough here in this area. Is Ammon talking
Yeah.
about that?
Yeah. Yes. So, especially, like I said, with the low tax rate in Ammon, when it comes to parks, we do have to rely on new development to provide parks that we would, of course, maintain and take care of. So as new development comes, we're talking about new parks. We're also talking about, like I said, improvements to parks because we have a parks capital improvement plan. So you will see improvements over the next several years with new playgrounds and new amenities.
Yay! That's
Yeah.
so good because I have kids.
Yeah, in fact, our flagship park is McCowan Park. That's where we do Ammon Days, and we're anticipating a new playground in McCowan Park within the next few months.
To replace the existing one?
Yeah,
Oh,
which
cool.
is needing some work. So we'll be putting in a new one, and probably involving the community in that process. So
Very cool.
yeah.
Do we think that more places, neighborhoods, subdivisions, houses, properties will be annexed into the city so that the boundaries will actually grow, or is it going to stay in one area?
So annexation in the city of Ammon is not something that we don't force the outside areas to annex.
Okay.
They annex if they want to. So if we have a property that's right on the border in the county that says we'd like to develop and we'd like to be a part of the city, they'll submit their request and we'll consider annexing them into the city. If it makes sense, then we'll annex it. So we've taken that kind of an approach. It's different than some other cities have done, but it's worked out well for us.
Why would someone want to be annexed into the city versus someone who would want to just stay in the county?
So, for instance, like I said, with fiber optics and some other things that a lot of people want to be a part of the city of Ammon. The other thing is that we have agreements with the county that basically if properties that are adjoining the city, that are right next to the city, want to develop, then they need to come to the city to work to develop, so that we don't have lots of pockets of county residential development.
Okay.
Which doesn't make as much sense because the county isn't as well equipped to handle residential neighborhoods as the city is.
Okay. And let's talk about kind of what it's like to live in Ammon. I mean, you're closer. I mean, I'm looking at Ammon through the window. You've got the hills. I mean, it's kind of over there. You've got, mountain views versus being closer to the river.
Right.
You've probably I would think, more wildlife, but again, I haven't been here that long. I see a lot of wildlife in Camora Loma, which isn't Ammon. It's just county,
just
I believe.
South of Ammon, yeah.
Yep, but you're kind of at the foothills, right?
Yep.
So what are some things that people might expect? I mean, I think less traffic, fewer people, maybe some animals. What do you think?
I think some people might beg to disagree with me on less traffic, but I do think it is, generally speaking, less traffic than the rest of the county or than the rest of the city area. But you will from time to time see deer that come down into the neighborhoods. I see them all the time. But it is nice to, I particularly like to, when I'm out for a walk or a run, to see the sun creeping up over the foothills, the Ammon foothills, which we like to call them the Ammon foothills, and since they're right there. We're a little bit further away from the river, but we love the foothills and we love just being more of a rural feel than the bigger city feel.
It seems like there's like a rivalry. Like people who are pro Idaho Falls will never live in Ammon, and some people who live in Ammon will never live in Idaho Falls. To me, they're just so similar that it's kind of silly.
Well, I don't know. I think when I started on the city council, prior to that, it felt like that rivalry was much more pronounced and stronger. But I don't feel it anymore. I feel like I appreciate what Idaho Falls has to offer that we can't, and I think they vice versa. And that makes us stronger as a community, is just to work together and complement each other in ways that we may not be able to do.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel like Idaho Falls and Ammon is right now.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. And it's kind of a reflection of just Idaho's culture in general. I feel like we're all trying to just collaborate, work together, be a community as one. So, and Ammon's home prices, just because I'm a realtor, I have to mention this, they're pretty comparable to Idaho Falls, and it really just depends on what neighborhood you're in. The largest builder in Idaho or in East Idaho is Rockwell, and they have several neighborhoods in the Ammon area, but they're also building in Idaho Falls. And so you can find an affordable first-time home in Ammon and Idaho Falls. We also have some higher-end neighborhoods that are in a higher price point. We also have those in Idaho Falls. So it's really not an Ammon versus Idaho Falls when it comes to house prices. It really is more per neighborhood, would you say?
Yeah, it just depends on the home and and the neighborhood. I'm not the expert that you are.
No, that's okay.
Yeah.
Just for what you've seen.
Yeah.
Okay, so just to end our interview, I would love to know a little bit more about how you feel about East Idaho in general. A lot of people who watch our videos are people looking to move here, and they're kind of wondering, is this the right place for me? So who would you say would fit in, so to speak, in East Idaho?
I feel like there are a lot of opportunities for work from home. There are a lot of opportunities for new families. and for retirees, it's a family-friendly community. There are a lot of opportunities for people who are looking for a new career. The job market is good in Eastern Idaho compared to other places. I feel like it's a moving community, not a community that is dying. So there are opportunities for people who like the outdoors, all kinds of outdoors opportunities that I'm sure you've talked about in your other videos. So that's the kind of people that I would anticipate wanting to be in Eastern Idaho.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you don't like about East Idaho? I mean, I'm all about being authentic and being completely
Okay.
honest. Do not hold back. Is there anything that you wish were different or
Well,
that you don't like?
I guess you could like the winters and also not like the winters.
Right.
So I like the being cozy inside, and I also like sometimes being outside in the snow. There can be a lot of snow, so that's kind of just a heads up. We know that winters can be severe sometimes, and we just have to be prepared with our snow tires and our winter gear. So.
Well, that was a very diplomatic answer.
Yeah.
He's saying that the snow can be terrible, and
Well,
it's a pro and a con, though.
It can, and sometimes it's not. So, yeah,
Okay.
You just never know.
Okay, great. And what is your favorite thing about living in Idaho? I mean, what keeps you here?
Oh, I just, so many things, but I think I just feel like the people are really just great. And I wouldn't want anything different than the people in Idaho and Eastern Idaho especially.
Yeah, I agree. It's some of the nicest people. I've had people move here or visit here and they say, I just went through the drive-thru at 11 o'clock at night and they were so nice, even at 11 o'clock at night. And that was such a surprise for people moving from bigger cities who are full of all kinds of grumps and Karens. So I agree about Idaho. Was there anything else that you would like to add about Ammon City or about East Idaho in general, or anything about you that you would like our audience to know?
Well, I just think that come up and check out Eastern Idaho, check out Ammon. If you're interested in a tour, give me a call, or I can leave my phone number with Annika. I'm happy to show you around. I love my community. I think it's the best. We all have our challenges and struggles and things like that, but there just is a lot of good happening in Eastern Idaho and in Ammon.
Wonderful. That's a perfect place to end. Thank you again for tuning in. Again, my name is Annika Wilder. This is Mayor Sean Coletti of Ammon City. And make sure you hit subscribe and that notification bell if you want to see more videos like this that I put out every single week. We'll see you next time. Bye.